Well, appreciate you joining us as always. As a reminder to members of the media, we're now joined by head coach Doug Martin of New Mexico State. If you have a question, please press *1 to get in the queue at this time. Coach, you're coming off an open week. What did you accomplish during that as you prepare for Arkansas State?
Yeah, the biggest thing was getting healthy. Coming off the Texas A&M game, which obviously was a fast, physical game, we had some guys that were beat up a little bit, and we were able to get really healthy going into this last four-game stretch. So that was number one. We had some special teams issues we really had to work on, especially our punt team. That was the second thing we had to get done, and then some recruiting. So our coaches were out recruiting and hitting the trail on that.
And, Coach, as you prepare for this week's game against Arkansas State, what jumps out to you when you look at the Red Wolves?
Well, number one is, Blaze Taylor, the punt returner. Obviously, he's, I think, second in the Sun Belt history of returning punts, and he changes games in a hurry. Returned one for a touchdown against Georgia State last week, and so we've got to have a plan for that, and that's been a weakness for us, so that's a concern. I think looking at their offense, they're starting to gel. They've got a quarterback that's really playing well for them the last 3 or 4 weeks. They're on a 4-game winning streak, so they got a lot of confidence right now. And obviously Jonesboro's a really tough place to go play, so we'll have our work cut out for us.
And Coach, what you mentioned the punting was worked on in the off week. I mean, what was really the focus of areas of improvement in that area?
Yeah, we've got a freshman punter who has done a phenomenal job. I mean, he really has great hang time. He's hitting the ball really well. We're just not covering very well. So, a little bit of his personnel change, a little bit of it may be some scheme change, but we've got to do something different to put our guys in a position to succeed because what we've been doing just hasn't worked well enough.
Coach, can you take away anything from your past 3 games against Arkansas State as you head into this game? They're a little bit of a different team this year, but what have you learned from them in the past that might help you with them in this game?
Yeah, one, they're very opportunistic. They do a great job with turnover margin, and when they get turnovers, they score. So, you really have to make them earn what they get. The same token, we need to try to take the football away and give our offense some short fields because, defensively they're very competitive. Play a lot of man coverage, some press coverage on the outside receivers. Don't give you many easy throws. So I think the turnover margin and the kicking game will be, really fundamental in this game.
And Coach, every week we're talking about Rodney Butler, but what do you think you'll need from him on Saturday against the Red Wolves?
Just to continue to do what he's done. He's been a great leader. He makes all of our calls. He gets us lined up in the right place, and then he makes plays. And he's the one guy on our defense that you can really count on from week to week that, he is going to make plays for us, and whether it's knocking a pass down, an interception, a sack, or, obviously he's going to lead us in tackles and has every week. So he's having a phenomenal year.
We will go to our first questions from Matt Robertson with the Jonesboro Sun.
Hey, Coach. How you doing this morning?
Good, Matt. How are you?
Great. Hey, I just wanted to ask you about Larry Rose. Obviously, he hadn't had the same season as last year, but I understand he's had some injuries and he's back kind of healthy now. Could you just kind of give me an update, kind of give us an idea of what he's gone through this year?
Yeah, Matt, it's really been disappointing for Larry and for us. In two-a-day camp, he had a sports hernia that required surgery. So he really missed 8 weeks, counting camp and then games. He's literally has not played in 6 of our first 6 games. He very rarely played. And it's taken him some time to get back into it. When you're off that long, counting the time he missed in two-a-day camp all the way through the games, it's just really hard to jump back in there. Now, I will say the last 2 games, he started to look like his old self again, which is, what we had hoped. We'd hoped that about the time we got to Texas A&M and then the open date, that our last 4 conference games, he would be back ready. So he's fully healthy now. I think he's back in the rhythm of playing. I think, you'll see the guy that played last year in these last 4 games.
All right. Thanks, Coach. That's my only question.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much, Matt, and thank you, Coach Martin. Those are all the questions we have for you today. We appreciate your time.
Okay, appreciate it, guys.